Everybody, welcome to another episode of Chit Chat with My Mom. I am Misty Tripoli, and this is my fabulous mother, Wendy Cicchetti. She's actually a world-renowned astrologer, and we like to get together, every few weeks and give you guys an update on what's going on astrologically and how it's affecting us and the world, politics, and all the craziness that's happening in the world. So this is another update. But before we get into it, make sure that you like and subscribe. All the links are below. Join the newsletter. You'll get you send a celestial update, right? You send all of
twice a month.
Twice a month, you'll get some celestial updates, what's going on in the planet, stars, but also something coming up that's super cool. Mom, why don't you tell about your 9 levels of awakening workshop?
Yes.
Yeah, that's coming up. Tell us a bit about that.
And I'll have the link to sign up for it under the video, but it's a workshop on the 9 levels to measure how awake you are. So I go through these 9 levels that clearly indicate for a person at what level they're at. Now, of course, we're all thinking, we want to go to higher frequency, we want to go to 5D. But this just really outlines things so that you can pinpoint and go, that's where I'm at. And then it tells what goes on in the next level and then the next level. So you clearly see what you need to do to go to higher levels. And a lot of people right now are just settling. They're tired, they're unmotivated, they're just settling. It's like, they're exhausted, unmotivated, and not knowing really what to do. And this workshop will excite you. It will give you something to work toward and rejuvenate you. And that's what I want to do, is I want to give people that oomph to get through the next few months that are so critical. We've got to stay strong. So sign up for that workshop. It's going to be really good.
And when is it?
It's on the 9th of September. So it's coming up. About 10 days.
So don't miss that one. And then also, just as a reminder, every Sunday, we got our Spirit Hour. So if you're interested in that, again, all the information is below. So Spirit Hour is just an hour of prayer, whatever the God of your understanding is, but to get together of like-minded people that want to join together with powerful intention to not only help the planet, but individuals too, right?
Right. We started out doing it just for issues in the world. And now it's kind of morphed into not only doing that, but praying for people who are ill. Everybody knows somebody who's having trouble, and everybody can use a little prayer. And so we're doing that now. And, this is just a free thing. It's inspiring. We have just such a lovely group of people. And, we share with each other. Sometimes when we do the prayers, people get visions of things. We share those things as well. And it makes us feel like we're really doing something valuable for the planet.
And you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that is a very valuable.
Yes.
Yeah. So all that information's below. And also, if you want a private reading with my mom, that's pretty powerful and empowering. She does family astrology and personal astrology and all of the things if you want to go deep into the different layers and aspects of yourself. So that's also available. All that information is below. So we might chat a little bit more about the end. But for now, Mom, anything else you want to announce before we get into the nitty gritty and the dirt?
all the dirt.
Get into the nitty gritty. What's going down? We got a full moon here. So tell us what's going on.
Well, first of all, we're going to be covering this powerful month of September. This is literally the most powerful month of the year. There's so much going on, and a lot of things are going to be happening. It is the most eventful and shocking month of the year. Huge waves of unraveling, unmasking, revelations, very monumental, which will change things and that will have ripple effects throughout the world. It's that monumental. Things that are hard to believe. A major awakening and wake-up calls to deal with money, secrets, politics, and corruption, people will really be confused. You know, I've been telling people for a year and a half that this stuff was coming, you know, and it's coming. And it's coming so fast, it's hard for me to even keep up with it.
Yeah. Well, the frustrating part though is it's like if you're kind of in the beat of the underground news, you don't watch the current, like you actually, you know, find some free news out there that people that are really doing the research and
Tellers, yeah.
there's so much information. It's like my biggest frustration is how is half these people not in jail already?
I know.
Like,
I know.
how is it that it's still like it just, and that's why is this a month like we're hoping that maybe we're going to see some of this start to happen, or we're just going to have more revelation of more of the the corruption that's been going on?
We're going to start seeing the justice. Okay. And the revelations are going to be, like I said, so shocking. You know, there are people out there who have made up their mind about things. And they don't hear anything else. They don't want to hear anything else, you know. But when they have to deal with stark revelations, many who have already made up their minds concerning the world will see something completely different that has been going on for decades. A long time that has been hidden from us. And there are truth tellers out there, there are whistleblowers that are literally, it's just like this constant vomit of corruption. It's just constant, the stuff that they're digging up. You know, and I have to tell you guys too, that there has been an uptick in the censorship regulations on YouTube, Facebook, all of them. And you would think after the Twitter files, you know, and people realize what was really going on, you know, that more hasn't happened to make these people accountable, like you said, Misty. Nobody has yet been held accountable, but I think that's what's really coming. We have to see the truth before we can fix it. If the truth's been withheld from us, we don't see it. We don't think anything needs to be fixed. And there are a lot of people in that category. And so,
but I also think cognitive dissonance is a huge problem too, because it comes up, and then the moment anything comes up, oh, it's conspiracy. You're into that conspiracy shit. That's conspiracy. It's like, that's all conspiracy. It's like, not all of it is. A lot of it's actual fact. And did you know that Canada has now taken, you can no longer watch any independent news channels on any social media?
I know.
Like, you talk about some communist kind of craziness. That is insane.
Oh, I know. And this is, trust me, that's what they're trying to do here.
Yeah.
But it isn't going to work. It isn't going to work. Too many people are waking up now. And too many people are saying, no way, not doing it this time, not playing those games that we just played for 3 years, not doing it. And so it's going to be interesting to see. But anyway, lots and lots of things coming up. And so I'm going to be a little careful in the way I say things. But I just heard some stuff today that just blew my friggin' mind that's coming out with whistleblowers that has to do with, you know, the past president before Trump. And it's going to blow your mind, people. Anyway, just bring out the popcorn. I'm telling you, some of these whistleblowers and truth tellers that are coming out have stuff that has been kept secret from us for so long. And I am so grateful that they're coming forward and spilling the beans on these people, that people have such angelic feelings about, oh, this person is just so wonderful. And all of it was a lie, orchestrated and propped up by the media. Totally propped up by the media. Oh, well, okay. We got to see it and then we can fix it. Okay. So I want to discuss the important dates throughout this month. And most of them have to do with the planet Mars and how Mars triggers not only the world astrology, what's going on by transit in the world, but also how it impacts the United States chart. That's what's really telling. Okay. Hugely telling. So remember, I've talked to you about Mars and what Mars represents, and Mars has to do with aggressive behavior, impatience, impulsiveness, anger, warlike, vitriol, fighting. All of that stuff is Mars. Okay, and Mars is considered the trigger in astrology. So when Mars hits any one of these planets, it's going to trigger something based on what sign the planets are in. Okay. And
now, really quick, just so people understand, when you say also for the United States, what are you basing that off of? The date of the birth of America? How does you find, what does that mean?
Just as a person's natal chart is created at the time of their birth, charts are also created by the birth of a business or the birth of a government. When did everything come to pass? When did everybody sign everything and it then became a thing?
Okay.
And so I have a chart, and a lot of astrologers use what they call the US Sibley chart. And they've done some rectification on it because they don't have an exact time, but they've rectified it and worked with it based on other things to come up with the time that they feel is most feasible. And so that's the chart I'm looking at. But when you're dealing with outer planets anyway, they don't move fast, a few hours, and they're completely, maybe the moon does, but not the other planets. So you can still, even if the time were off an hour or two, it's not going to matter, because Mars is impacting by transit that chart. And it's very, very powerful. And, I've talked about before that the United States chart was going through its Pluto return. Remember, we've been talking about that, where the Pluto was, I think, at 27, 28 degrees Capricorn, and that's where Pluto has been. And that only happens every 250 years. It's not something that happens all the time. Pluto changes signs about every 2.5 years, and now it's going into Aquarius. It's been in Aquarius. It's gone back now, retrograde, back into Capricorn. Then it's going to go back into Aquarius. And by 2024, it's going to be solidly in Aquarius. But right now, that Pluto return is still in play. And a Pluto return Pluto is about death and rebirth. Pluto is about, and when this was pertinent at the time the country was born, what was happening? The people were rebelling against England, right? They moved over here. All of those founders committed treason to pull away from England for several reasons. One of them was taxation. The other one was freedom of religion, freedom in general, and not paying homage to England. And so, the founders came over and established this country by committing treason. They gave their money and their sacred honor to create this country. So a lot of people say, oh, but there were slave owners, so they probably can't be good people. Well, having slaves was part of what was done back then. It isn't done now. Okay, some of them didn't have slaves at all. Some of them did, but that doesn't mean they weren't good people in many respects. They gave up everything to create this country. I'm talking about people like Benjamin Franklin, and we're talking about, Andrew Jackson. We're talking about all of these great, great guys, including Washington and many others. So they gave up their fortunes and their sacred honor, and a lot of them ended up being killed and losing everything. So this wasn't just some, happy-go-lucky thing. They came over here and everything was hunky-dory. No, they had to fight for every ounce of freedom that we have today, or that we have had taken away from us, because the current administrations have destroyed our Constitution in the United States. They no longer even consider it as valid. And so now is the time that we stand up and fight once again for our freedoms, with Pluto coming back to the same place it was in the original chart of the United States. That's what it's all about. The only way we keep our freedom is by fighting for it. We can't just be passé. Freedom comes at a cost.
Isn't that crazy? We actually have to fight for freedom.
Why is it that people are so bent on evil? Why is it that they have to have power and greed and more money than God? I mean, what is it that makes people so dark and so selfish? And, to me, it's just absolutely astonishing when I think about the sociopaths that run this country and that run the world. They have no empathy. They don't care about anybody. They don't.
No.
If anybody still thinks that their government cares about you, then you are up in the night, because they don't care about you at all.
Nope.
And, nothing is more evident of that than what happened recently with some of the fires. Truly,
that was disgusting.
Evident that they don't care about the people at all.
Yeah.
So, so we've got to be vigilant, and I'm going to talk more about that later, because our vigilance and our prayerful participation and our visualizations can be extremely important. Now, let's talk about the moon that happens today, the full moon in Pisces, and what that represents. It's the fourth super moon in a row. And a super moon means that it's closest to the earth, okay, than a normal moon. And we, interestingly enough, have had four in a row. Now, this is the one that is closest to the earth of all of the four. And a super moon being close to the earth means that there is more intense gravitational pull, which can increase seismic activities. It can, it doesn't mean it will. There have been lots of studies done on it where within a 3-day ratio of the moon, there's been, like we just a couple of days ago had a 7.1 quake. We haven't had too many of those. I think we're probably going to have more as things ramp up, and I'll tell you more about those as we go. But anyway, that's what a super moon is. Now it's in Pisces, Virgo. The sun's in Virgo and the moon is in Pisces. And Pisces, we know, has to do with compassion. It has to do with spirituality. It has to do with insanity. It has to do with water. It has to do with drugs. It has to do with illusion. Okay. One thing for sure with this, because this moon, hang on, I want to get this, because for some reason, what did I do with it? Anyway, the moon is, I've got the United States chart in front of me, and I don't have the moon chart. Let me quick pull that up, because my brain won't pull it up for me right this second. But what it has to do with, the moon right now is conjunct, here we go, another planet. It just went right out of my brain. Getting old ain't for sissies, guys. All right, here we go. Let's see. Okay. What happened here is The sun is conjunct Mercury, and the moon is conjunct Neptune, and Jupiter and Uranus are conjunct. So we have lots of different energies that are, there's a wide variety of energies going on right now. So one of the things with Pisces is that it has to do with health. Pisces has to do with mental health, and it has to do with compassionate service. Virgo has to do with medicine and health and food and diet. So do you see what we're dealing with this opposition of the moon and the sun? Virgo, Pisces. That's called the serve or suffer axis. It's the 12th, 6th ratio. Virgo rules the 6th house, Pisces rules the 12th house. So it's serve others or suffer, and it has to do with mental health, it has to do with physical health, and the things that are associated with that. Now, Pisces is also spirituality. And I think based on this and what I see with this is that spirituality right now is extremely important. And the more information comes out, the more people get confused, the more people get overwhelmed, they're going to seek their spiritual roots. They're going to seek connection because they're going to know they've been lied to. They're going to know that everything is a movie, that everything has been just smoke and mirrors. And when people really wake up to that, it's like, you know, where are they going to turn when their foundation has been rocked to the core? They're going to turn to their God and look for connection. Okay, so that's what is happening right now. More compassion, more empathy with this moon. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on the moon, and I've talked to you about this before, which is the moon moves very quickly. It just sets things in motion. It doesn't stay there for a long period of time. It's very quick. Okay, so all right, now let's talk about we talked about what Mars means, and I want to take you on this September journey of Mars transits because they're very, very powerful. And a couple things more about this moon. People are exhausted and overwhelmed, emotional overwhelm. So it's bringing to head lots of feelings and emotions. Okay. And that's what is bringing people more to God. There is a great resurgence, a great restoration of spiritual connection right now, all over the world. I see pictures of it all the time. People coming back to their spiritual roots. They're turning to Jesus. They're turning to God. It's just amazing to me. So, all right, let's look at Mars, the trigger, and how it impacts not only us, but the US chart. And we'll start with September 1st, okay? Mars is at 3 degrees Libra in a quincunx, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute, to Saturn at 3 degrees Pisces. Now, a quincunx is called an inconjunct, and it is a very harsh aspect. It's like there almost isn't a resolution. So when you've got Mars in this difficult, warlike energy about deep issues, obstacles, we're on the cusp of some enormous change, but we don't quite know what that change is yet, it brings a huge wake-up call to people. And because we're dealing with Libra, now Libra, yes, is a wonderful, nice sign, but it's the 7th house. Libra rules the 7th house of partnership and open enemies. It has to do with the enemies around us. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. So What this means is these are difficult energies. And what are Mars and Saturn together? They're warlike energies. They're harsh, aggressive. Pisces is so aggressive. It has to do with government. Saturn represents government and big money and big business. So starting a couple of days, we've got Mars quincunx Saturn. And so that's going to be kind of the start that sets the tone for the month. And so also for the US chart, Mars squares Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. So Mars is squaring Venus and Jupiter. Well, Venus and Jupiter in Cancer are just like nice. They're loving, they're wonderful energies, but you got Mars square them. That's going to create a lot of emotional upheaval. Mars doesn't give a shit about lovely things. Mars just goes in and just wreaks havoc. And a square is challenge. And so in the US chart, we have Mars squared on the 1st, Venus conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. Mars and Cancer do not get along. That's fire and water. Either the fire boils the water or the water puts out the fire, but there is nothing harmonious about Mars, about fire and water. So that's a nasty thing. All right. And so just as an aside, on September 4th, Venus goes direct. It's been retrograde, and Jupiter goes retrograde. So it's just this. and Venus going direct, that's really helpful if you haven't wanted to start a relationship, which you shouldn't do when Venus is retrograde, waiting until now, after it goes direct after the 4th, give it a few days to start moving quick, then you can start on a relationship. And also Venus going direct is going to help relationships that may have been troubled through the retrograde. Okay, so there's that. Now on the 9th, September 9th, we have Mars at 8 degrees Libra, and it is trine the US chart's Uranus at 8 degrees Gemini. What is Mars Uranus energy? Quick and sudden changes, out of the blue stuff, just bam, wham, bang. Now, when talking about a trine, people say, well, a trine's supposed to be a good aspect. Well, yeah, unless it deals with malefic planets. If it deals with malefic, it just makes the bad stuff easier. Now, it's a wonderful, happy aspect if it's dealing with benefic planets like Venus and Jupiter. And
what's the difference between a malefic and a benefic?
Malefic is harsh. A benefic benefits us directly. Venus and Jupiter and the sun, they're considered the benefic planets because they benefit us. Now, the moon and Mercury are considered neutral because they take on the energies of what's around them. Okay, so they're neutral, they take on from the other planets. But Mars, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the 5 malefic planets. And so when you put an easy trine aspect to 2 malefic planets, it's just going to make whatever crap they're up to easier. Yeah. So some people say, but that's a trine. It's supposed to be so. Oh, no. Only when it's benefics. And so this is Mars conjunct Uranus. Mars trine Uranus. Anytime you get Mars and Uranus together, it's accidents. It's explosive happenings, and this is right in the US chart. So this has to do with what's happening with the country. Okay. And very explosive, and it takes place in the 7th house of partnerships and open enemies. Now, Mars this whole time is going to be in Libra, open enemies. So
Wow.
that's something we need to be thinking about and recognizing that, you know, we have made a hell of a lot of enemies in this country. And so it's going to be interesting how these aspects play out. So now let's look at the 18th through the 20th of September. And these are pretty big stuff. Okay, pretty big stuff. Oh, wait a minute. Did I tell you about that on the 1st? Yeah, I did. Okay, sorry. My notes got me a little confused here. So on the 18th, Mars is at 14 degrees Libra, and it's conjunct the US chart's Saturn, which is at 14 degrees Libra. So we have Mars, Saturn on the 18th. Our transiting current Mars is conjuncting right next to the US Saturn at 14 degrees. Warlike energies, open enemies, deep issues, a strong wake-up call, big changes coming. Mars, Saturn. And Saturn is what? Government, big business, big money. You know, this is tough stuff. So that's on the 18th. Then the 19th of September, we have Mars in a quincunx again, another quincunx, which are in conjunct. Doesn't seem to be a resolution. Mars quincunx Jupiter in Taurus. Okay, so Mars, Jupiter in Taurus is big issues in the financial markets for the world and the US stock market. So you see, Taurus, Jupiter is in Taurus. Taurus is the money. Okay. And so with Mars impacting that, you know, we can expect that this is going to have to do with our money and the stock market. So now on the 20th, we have Mars in a sextile to Venus in Leo. Mars, we know, is in Libra. This deals with world leaders. Mars sextile Venus upsets or changes in leadership. I've talked to you about this before, that Venus and that Leo represents world leadership. So this could mean the changing of the guard in certain countries. It can mean, you know, somebody may die. I've already seen there was a great coup that they had in an African country yesterday. Just turned it over, just got rid of the leader. So I think you're going to see a lot of that, but the Leo energy has to do with leaders. Now, so those are the aspects that are between the 18th and the 20th. Okay. Now on the 28th, there is Mars at 21 degrees Libra trine the US Mars. So we've got Mars today trine Mars in the US chart. And the US chart's Mars is in Gemini. Now, what is Gemini? Talk, 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 communicate, talk, talk, talk. Lots of talk going on about this. And Mars trine Mars is vigorous assertions, vigorous action. Okay, so something in the government is going on, and it's going to be big, and people are going to be talking about it. Okay, and remember, Mars currently is in Libra. Open enemies. Okay, it isn't going to be pretty. So now let's see, big changes. Okay, we talked about that, open enemies. Now on the 29th, then Mars is in another quincunx quincunx to Uranus for the world. Mars, Uranus. Remember, no real resolution, and in conjunct. And that's like earthquakes, quick and sudden changes, explosive events, earthquakes, I said that, eruptions, power outages. It could be anything like that. It could be somebody hacking the internet and everything goes dark. Hacking the power companies. We've heard a lot about the fact that that may happen. So this is on the 29th. All right. Quick and sudden stuff. Now, then also on the 29th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus. Sudden changes in leadership. Venus in Leo, square Uranus. Sudden changes in leadership. Anytime we talk about Uranus, it's quick change, out of the blue kind of stuff. And Leo, leadership. Okay. Now, on the 30th, Mercury makes aspects to several planets. Now, what is Mercury? It's communication. It's the talk, talk, talk. It's getting it out through the news media. Okay. Everybody's talking about it. So Mercury is going to be trine to Pluto in Capricorn. Well, what's Mercury talking about? The government, Capricorn, business, government, money. Okay. Mercury is in an opposition to Neptune. What is Neptune about? Water, drugs, emotion, insanity, crazy behavior, just could be all kinds of things with the water. It's my understanding there are all kinds of submarines and ships in the water right now that most of the people have no idea about. Okay. Then we have Mercury trine to Uranus. Unexpected happenings. Things just happening out of the blue. And Mercury is in aspect to all three of these malefic planets. Talk, 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 talk. What's that saying? Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, pick cheap, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more.
So basically, there's going to be a lot going down and a lot of talk.
A lot of talk about it, because the things that are going to happen are going to have ripple effects around the world. If the financial markets collapse in the United States, you don't think that's going to have ripple effects? Also, Neptune has to do with disease. And so we have it in an opposition to Neptune. And of course, we're hearing all this stuff about, new things coming. And so there's going to be talk, all kinds of talk about that. So now Mars in a square to the US Neptune in the 9th house of justice and legal affairs. I think this is interesting. This is also on the 30th. Mars in a square in the US chart to Neptune in the 9th house of justice and legal affairs. Now, Mars Neptune is a really creepy energy. I'm telling you. That's when the mom puts all the kids in the car and goes off the bridge. Wacky, insane behavior. Or it's very challenging, or it can mean a good, Neptune is the highest of good spiritual. It's got the lowest yucky stuff, and then it's got the high part. It could mean good decisions being made in court that represent justice, because the 9th house represents justice. So that's going to be interesting on the 30th. Boy, I'd like to see that. We know with all of the current indictments and such that probably, depending on how each one comes out, there are going to be some Supreme Court decisions coming out. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out. So you see how Mars is just the whole month, bam, 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 just triggering stuff all over the place. and Uranus too. There's so much Uranian energy, which is just change, quick and sudden changes. That Uranus also ruled by Uranus rules Aquarius energy, which is the people, which is freedom. So there's all kinds of implications. It's not simple.
Yeah.
It's complex. And what's going on in the world today is very, very complex.
Yeah.
And so
Unfortunately,
it's going to take what we're seeing right now with all of these aspects are not only the revelations, but we're seeing the unraveling and the unmasking of things that we have seen and had no idea what was really behind the mask. We're going to be seeing behind the masks. Okay, so just prepare for it, that nothing is how it seems. Question everything. And I know you hear that, but it's serious. Look at the things that you may believe now and question it. The things that you've seen on the news, the things that keep being reported that everything's fine, from the economy to inflation and job reports. Smoke and mirrors, guys, smoke and mirrors. And the truth is going to be coming out.
Because they don't want you prepared.
Don't want you prepared. And that's one thing I want to remind you of. We still have a little bit of time to prepare. It may not be too long, 3 or 4 weeks maybe. Get prepared, because these Mars-Uranus effects can be, bam, power outages. What if the power out, and I told you this last year, what if the power went out for a month? What would you do? How would you cook? How would you heat your house?
How'd you keep your food?
How would you keep your food? You've got
This is why I'm so happy I live off grid.
I know. And
I'm fully solar powered.
yeah. But we're not solar powered here.
No. Get some generators. You see lots of generators,
yeah.
cool little generators that you can get.
Yeah. We've got a generator, but it's not going to run the refrigerator and the freezer 24/7, so we're also involved this year in canning a lot of stuff, putting a lot of stuff by, drying a lot of stuff that doesn't take refrigeration to store. So be thinking about those things, because things are going to get pretty tempestuous and you need to be ready. By the end too of September, all of the outer planets, the 5 outer planets, will be retrograde.
Oh God.
And retrograde means what? Number one, it means they're closer to the earth than normal. And number two, they're more powerful. Their energy is more potent. So by the end of September, all those bad guys are retrograde.
So it's like all of this on crack, just so you know.
Now, some of these events will happen in September that will spur changes in October. So there are more changes that are coming in October that were set into motion in September. Okay, so you know that. Now, the changes coming will, in essence, shock the world. Okay, they're going to shock a lot of people in this country, but they're going to shock the world. But this is the time to hold fast. This is what we came here for. We people who fight for the light, who have the light. This is what we came here for. Hold fast. Don't give up the fight. I know people are exhausted. I know people are unmotivated, but now's the time to really turn it on. Okay, we are in the midst of a huge battle between good and evil. It's like Lord of the Rings. Okay, it's like Star Wars, where the good is I can't get the word out, constantly fighting for the truth. and being and having to battle evil all through the fight. Okay. And I think of Frodo up there, in Lord of the Rings, trying to destroy that evil ring and having, being fraught with all kinds of blockages. And that's what we're in right now. Our enemies know that we're winning, and don't kid yourself, we're winning. There are a lot more of us than there are of them. They will try everything to wear us out and wear us down and take away our will, to make us so tired that they'll take, that they can take our will. Do not be moved. Hold the line. Don't give in. We are at the crest of this battle. This is one of the most difficult battles in the history of the world, because it has to do with perception. It has to do with things that don't have weapons other than the weapons of the mind. We have been in war since the beginning of the pandemic 3 years ago. And people don't realize that we have been in a war. We are in World War III, and people don't see it. They don't believe it. But that's what's going on. And we're coming to the crest of that battle. We've watched them get away with everything they could possibly get away with. And, but now so many people are awake and see through all the nonsense that, they're not going to stand for it this time. They're not going to comply with it this time. It's going to be a whole different kettle of fish. So don't be moved. All of our strength and light are needed now. Through the power of the God of your understanding, call in your freedom. That's our job. We have the power of God within us. And through the power of that God, you have the right to call in our freedoms, to call down the evil, okay? To call in the restoration of everything that has been taken from us, from finances to our freedoms, everything. We have the ability to call in that restoration. And I believe it's coming. I think there's great joy that's going to come after the revelations, after everybody sees exactly what's been going on. Then we can transform it and we will have restoration. Okay, but don't focus on what you may see. That's what they want you to do. They want you to focus on all these distractions and all of this yuck that they're putting out there. And hopefully, that will take over your will, that will take over and make you exhausted and tired so you give in. Don't focus on that. In the Bible, it talks about you don't focus on what you see, you focus on me. Focus on the God of your understanding. Get in the scriptures, read whatever religion you're in, it doesn't matter. Start getting to know God and what his promises to his people have been, all along. Focus on what you want to see and the promises that have been made to those who love him. That's
shine bright. Shine.
Yeah. Freedom, peace,
right.
joy. And when you start seeing all the darkness and all the crap that's out there, don't buy into it. Just don't buy in. Just focus on the promises, focus on the freedom, focus on what you want, because before too long, things are really going to shift. There'll be a period of confusion, as a lot, in my view, of the dark forces that are in our governments, not just here, but in other countries, are taken down. And new leaders with integrity are risen up to take over. People that we can trust, that will tell us the truth. We have been lied to every step of the way for decades. Some people go, oh, well, no, we're not. We had this leader or we had that leader. It was smoke and mirrors, folks. Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, and it's like, my government wouldn't lie to me. Why would they lie to us?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
they want your money and they want power and they want control.
yeah.
That's what it's all about. And so many of the agendas that we see being so prominent in the world just have to do with control. Yeah, like the whole new ideas of how cities should run. And I mean, to me, it's just laughable. I look at their plans and I literally laugh. You gotta be kidding me. People are gonna buy this, you know, but they're in a panic right now, guys. They're in a panic because they know they're losing. And so who knows what garbage they're gonna pull. They've been talking about, you know, using their holographic 3D things and showing big, huge, you know, invasion. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. You know,
It'll just be interesting what comes. And like you said, just
yeah.
stay in your center, stay connected to God, you know.
And, you know, laugh at them, because to me, they're just laughable. It's like, it's so transparent. And one of the things that's really helpful is in your prayer work, thank God for discernment, to strengthen your discernment, you know, that you'll be able to see what's true and what's not, you know, and stay out of fear. I mean, I think the Bible has like 365 references to fear not. Why? Because it screws up your head, screws up your perception. What you replace fear with, you replace it with faith. Fear and faith are opposites. If you trust and have faith in God, then you don't have fear because you know it's going to be handled. You know? So anyway, that's my stuff and I'm sticking to it.
I've spoken my piece and I've counted to 3.
Three.
Awesome. So you guys, I know it's not all, you know, roses and rainbows. But you know, it's like birthing into a new thing. It's the labor pains are not fun and giving birth is not pain-free unless you're on a lot of drugs, and that's not what we're doing. So like you know, Mom said, it's so important to do what you need to do. Number one, to prepare yourself on all levels, whether it's financial, with your electricity, all these, just start thinking about those things and meeting people and connecting with other people. Don't try to do things alone. It's hard, and find the people around you that are questioning like you are, and get together so that you can help and support each other, and building community, because community is what's going to get us through this. I know this, that you have to have a community. And also that, like Mom said, is how important it is to stay connected to your God of your understanding. Find the practices in your life that you need to keep you connected, keeping you connected to nature, keep you connected to truth. Question everything. Don't believe anything anyone tells you. Don't even believe what we tell you. Go do your own research. Yeah. Like, go look at things, like really question. I just know if anything's on mainstream, I don't even need to question anymore. I even know it's bullcrap. So I just go, yeah, whatever. Well, I actually watch it just to see what they're trying to get me to believe. I think it's funny. Like, oh, this is what, that's what. And typically it's the exact opposite of the truth.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I found.
What they say about other people and what other people are going to do is because that's what they're doing.
Of course, it's always what they're doing.
Else, but
so it's madness at its highest level. We'd all like to see all this come crumbling down, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Well,
yeah. What I will tell you is there are going to be many more whistleblowers coming out, many more revelations from this. Some of it will blow your friggin' mind. I know. And the news media, the legacy media is on its way out. And I think
Yeah.
when the truth be told of how it's scripted, when the truth be told to these reporters who have, thought it was truth, and when they realize that it's lies, I think reporters are going to be just leaving in droves. I mean, this legacy media is going to fall apart because it's all based on lies.
Yeah.
All of it.
Unfortunate, but true. But that's why we got to hold strong. Like I said, hold the line.
Hold the line. Don't be moved. Don't get your emotions all, your panties in a bunch over any of it. Just be emotionally neutral. Turn to your God. Do what you need to do to stay neutral and to stay in control of yourself, and smile and laugh at the nonsense, and just watch and observe and use your discernment. Now, Misty, you're in Los Angeles right now. You're not in Mexico. What are you doing in LA right now?
Well, sorry, I have to keep muting because I'm not used to garbage trucks going past. I am spending time salsa dancing, one of my greatest joys, because it feeds my soul at such a level. And at the same time, I'm filming some body groove stuff. For those of you guys out there that don't know what I do, I have an app where you can dance with me at home. So if you're looking, Mom and I were talking before this call about how important that if you have to move your body, you just have to. And if you don't move it, you will lose it. And it's just a really simple, fun dance program that you can do in the comfort of your home. There's no complicated choreography or hard moves. It's just movement that I invite you to put in your body and find a beautiful way that makes your body feel good doing it. And so I'm filming some of that. And then I have a family reunion at the end of the week with my father, who I haven't really spoken to in 20 years. So we'll see how that goes. Should be kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to the interesting weekend ahead of me.
Yes, excellent.
So it's all good. But you guys, if you want to, again, stay connected, make sure you click on all the links below. Join Mom for her workshop on, you said it's the 9th?
September 9th. And the link
on the 9th?
Sign up for it will be in the
I think I'm going to be at that one. The 9 levels of awakening. Spiritual awakening.
Levels of awakening.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So join us for that. And again, Spirit Hour on Sundays, Feed Your Soul. That's free. And sign up for the newsletter. And again, if you have any questions about astrology or questions at all in general about any of this, email is also below. You can email my mom. She'll love to answer your questions. And it also fuels us for future episodes on stuff that you might want to talk about or address about astrology or stuff like that. We'd love to support you.
If you want a life-changing experience, sign up for my full initial life reading. It will change your life for the better.
Yeah. This isn't some little weird foofy astrology. We're talking like an hour to 2 hours of going deep inside of who you are and all the layers and aspects and progress charts and this whole it's amazing.
How to maximize your gifts and minimize your challenges throughout. Yep. Really opens things up so you understand yourself, why you are who you are. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically required for anyone that works with me. I'm like, nope, you got to have a reading with my mom first before I'm going to work with you. I need to know all about your business. And that's also great because if you're in a relationship, you can also do compatibility charts and all that kind of stuff too. So super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with your kids, everything. So stay connected with us below, and we will see you.
Back to you to go over October.
Yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks to talk about October after we've made it through some of September to see how that goes. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. So, love to everybody.
Hang in there.
Bye.